Hello students, this is Lipsa Miss and I welcome you to my last video on Merchant of Venice Act 1 Scene 1. And today we will start from line number 156. Up till now we have learned that Bassanio promises Antonio that he will repay both the loans if he gets another loan, or in any case he will pay back at least his second loan and remain indebted for the first. Now Antonio's reply: "You know me well, and herein spend but time to wind about my love with circumstance." Antonio is saying that you know me very well, and here you are wasting your time. Spend but time is you are wasting your time to wind about. Wind about is not in a direct way, in a roundabout way. You are appealing to my love with indirect and complicated reference, circumstances reference. So you are appealing to my love with indirect and complicated reference. My love for you doesn't require any reason or any excuse, any explanation. You tell me what you want me to do for you. I am ready to do that. You need not give any excuse or reason. So why are you appealing to my love with all these circumstances, all these references? And out of doubt, you do me now more wrong in making question of my uttermost. And there is no doubt that you are doing me more wrong in doubting, in making questions, in doubting whether I can do my utmost to help you. By doubting that whether I am ready to do my utmost for you. By doubting that you are doing me wrong. Then if you had made waste of all I have, then the wrong that you would do if you had wasted the money that I would give you. It means what? You would do wrong if you waste my money. But more than that, more wrong you are doing by doubting about my readiness, by doubting that whether I am ready to do my utmost for you or not. Then do but say to me what I should do. Then do but only. You only tell me, then do but say. Then you only tell me, but is only. What I should do, what I should do. That in your knowledge may by me be done. That in your knowledge, that you think can be done by me. Now tell me what you think can be done by me. And I am pressed onto it. I am quite ready for that. I am quite ready to do it. Therefore speak. Bassanio: in Belmont is a lady richly left. Now Bassanio speaks. In Belmont there is a lady who has inherited much wealth. She is fair, that is, she is beautiful, and fairer than that word. Fairer than that word is better still. She is beautiful, but better still, of wondrous virtues. She is better in her great virtues. And what are the virtues? That is talents and moral values that she is having. So she is fairer than that word, of wondrous virtues. She is more virtuous. Sometimes from her eyes I did receive fair speechless messages. Sometimes from her eyes I have received silent messages, that is love glances. So they have met earlier. Bassanio has met Portia, and from her silent eyes, from her eyes he has received silent messages, that is love glances he has received. Her name is Portia. Nothing undervalued. Nothing undervalued. So what does it mean? In no way inferior. In no way inferior, no less precious than Cato's daughter and Brutus Portia. So here Shakespeare has made mention of another Portia through Bassanio. And this Portia is a character in Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar. Now let us understand who this Cato and Brutus are. Actually, Cato was the leader of the Roman conservative senatorial aristocracy who tried to preserve the Roman Republic against power seekers, particularly Julius Caesar. It is Cato. And Brutus, a brave Roman general, one of Caesar's closest friends, and he was the leader of the conspiracy against Julius Caesar. And in Julius Caesar play of William Shakespeare, these characters have been mentioned. So this Portia, so Portia Belmont is in no way less precious than this Cato's daughter and Brutus Portia. Nor is the wide world ignorant of her worth. Worth is excellence. Entire world is aware, not ignorant. The world is not ignorant of her excellence. As the four winds blow in from every coast, from every corner, from every quarter, every side of the world, from every coast, renowned suitors have come to win Portia's hand. From all the quarters of the world, suitors have come. And her sunny locks, sunny is golden and locks hair, hang on her temples. Temples is forehead. Here the description of Portia's beauty. And her sunny locks hang on her temples like a golden fleece. Fleece refers to the crop of wool of a sheep or a ram, and according to Greek mythology. Now see here we have see the words. And her sunny locks hang on her temples like a golden fleece. See, her sunny locks, her hair is hanging on her temples like a golden fleece. So why this golden fleece? Now again see cultures. So this golden fleece and cultures, these have mythological reference. According to Greek mythology, a famous hero called Jason went on a dangerous voyage to Colchis in search of the golden fleece, which was fastened to an oak tree by the local ruler. And the fleece was guarded by a dragon. So Jason obtained it, reclaimed the throne from his wicked uncle who had stolen it from his father. So just the way the golden fleece was hanging on the oak tree, Portia's locks are hanging on her forehead, which makes her seat. Her seat is her house of Belmont, Colchis Strand. Strand is shore. Now Portia's house has become Colchis shore. Just like, and many Jasons come in quest of her. Now, as already we know that Jason went to Colchis in search of golden fleece. So in search, in quest of Portia, to win Portia, many Jasons, many suitors are coming to Belmont. Oh my Antonio, had I but the means. Oh my Antonio, if only I had the resources. Had I but the means to hold a rival place with one of them. So he is saying that if I had the resources to hold a rival place with one of them, to compete with those suitors, I have a mind presages, my mind, my instinct presages, that is foretells. My mind, my instinct foretells me of a success, that I will get success, that I should questionless be fortunate. That is, I will certainly have the good fortune. Certainly, questionless, certainly. I will certainly have the fortune of winning the lady. Antonio, thou knowest that all my fortunes are at sea. You know it very well, that all my money is invested in my ships at sea. Neither have I money nor commodity, that is, neither do I have the money nor goods to raise a present sum, that is, to provide you the money presently you need. Therefore, go forth, go ahead. Try what my credit can in Venice do. So what he means to say, therefore go and see if you can raise any loan in Venice against my credit as a businessman. Go forth, try what my credit can in Venice do, because he has got a very good name in Venice. So he is asking him, use my business credit and see if you can arrange money. That shall be wrecked, that is stretched, even to the uttermost. He is saying that I will stretch it to the my utmost to supply you with the means. That is, my credit shall be stretched to the utmost limit to supply you with the means and to enable you to go to Belmont and win over the beautiful Portia. To furnish thee, to supply you with the means, so that you can go to Belmont and win Portia. Go presently, inquire, and so will I. So go presently, immediately, right now, you inquire, you find out, and I will also do the same. Where money is, from where money can be had. And I no question make. I do not doubt, that is, I am quite confident to have it, to get the money, on the strength of my credit as a merchant or because of my personal influence. So he is saying, I am quite confident that we shall get the loan either on the strength of my credit, that is, my trust, my credit, or as or through my personal influence. He is saying, and then they all go out. Exeunt. They go out. And with this ends Act 1, Scene 1. Thank you.